Well, what's up, everybody? Sorry that you guys are getting this late. Might be a little bit annoying to some of you, but anyway, I really wanted to make sure I took my time and did these episodes well. As you know, we're getting ready to go on a little break, and I broke down I made an all-rookie team for both conferences that I really want to disclose to you guys. So we are going to do that now, just setting up something really quickly. Tuesday, June 21st, 2022, and you are watching the 378th episode of 4-3 Sports Talk. Today I deliver to you the NFC Way Too Early All-Rookie Team. Also news and scores from all the sports that you love. Make sure you are tuned in tomorrow as well. I give y'all the much-anticipated 2022 NBA mock draft on the eve of the NBA draft. Because only we can do it so well. You know what I mean? After 380, we take a break, but let's focus on the task at hand here. Episode 378 is a go. It's going to be a good day when the first word that is going to come from my mouth is my own name in the news. Raheem Sterling is interested in transferring to Chelsea FC, international soccer. This comes after new club owner Todd Boehly publicly made the forward his top summer transfer target. He's 27 years old, in the final year of his deal with Manchester City. The club has already stated that they prefer to collect a fee this summer instead of letting him leave for free in like a 12-month period. They value Raheem at around 50 to 60 million. Oh, woo, that sounds good. And with this interest in keeping all options open, potentially playing in another of Europe's top 5 soccer leagues is also something that is on his mind as well. He's also starting to garner attention from Bayern Munich. Also, I know them as the Yankees of international soccer. Excuse me. Also, Real Madrid are interested in his services as well. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Raheem. Texas A&M Aggies use vibes and crowd energy to cruise to the Men's College World Series victory over in-state rival Texas Longhorns. 10-2. Some players flashing an imminent horns down hand gesture. We took that from Sunday night. We didn't get a chance to talk about it yesterday, but I did want to bring that to the forefront as well. Another thing we're going to bring to the forefront is official at the age of 33 after 11 seasons in the NFL with the Patriots and the Buccaneers. Tight end Rob Gronkowski is officially retiring for the second time. Happy trails, and I wish you success in everything you do in your retirement. Deshaun Watson's lawyer says that 20 of his 24 lawsuits have been settled, which is a good sign, but here comes Roger Goodell. Is there going to be any punishment for Deshaun Watson going forward? That is something you and I are going to have to look forward to and pay attention to as the days progress. Former NBA first-round pick, Purdue Boilermaker Caleb Swanigan has died at the age of 25, and it is said that he died of natural causes. Let's leave a moment of silence for Caleb Swanigan. Another star wideout, specifically Brandon Inniss, has committed to the Ohio State. The number 4 wide receiver and the number 25th overall prospect rankings, that is where he falls. He made the commitment earlier this morning, and that comes a day after the Buckeyes landed another top 100 player, wide receiver Caleb Tate. 134th overall commits. Brandon Inniss is 6'4", 190 pounds, from the hallowed grounds of American Heritage High School in Plantation, Florida. A lot of NFL greats have played there. Recently on social media, he released a list of the top schools at which he would like to go play for: Alabama, LSU, Miami, Ohio State, Texas A&M, and USC. And obviously, we know who he picked. And on the season, the school has landed 8 of the ESPN's top 300 recruits. 6 of those are offensive players. Let that sink in for a little bit on how Ohio State is with recruiting. And that's it for the news. Now on to the show, the part of the show which you guys are all ready to see. The NFC's way too early all-rookie team. With the Packers always and forever being my team, over the years I naturally gravitate and have a bit more extensive knowledge on the NFC. So today the player explanations are a bit more in depth than they were for the AFC side, but doesn't mean that the equal effort was not put in. And here we go. We are going to start with quarterbacks. Sam Howell's a quarterback out of University of North Carolina. He plays for the Washington Commanders, and I quote, "There is absolutely no pressure for Sam as he enters the NFL with zero expectations, other than to develop behind starting quarterback Carson Wentz. Given where he was drafted, which is a good thing, he actually has game. The arm strength is real, and he left Chapel Hill as the school's all-time leading passer with 10,283 career receiving yards, 92 touchdowns, and holds the single-season touchdown passing mark for 38. He did this in his freshman year, ultimately setting the bar for any expected performances down the road to be great ones. Fifth round draft choice, and he might confuse some and leave them wondering why, but he's a hair taller than 6 foot tall. He's listed as 6'1" in some places. And pass rushers at this level are better, and he won't have as much time as he once had in this NFL pocket. All in all, he should sit, but the second Wentz gets hurt, he is most likely going to be forced into action." Second quarterback I got on my list is Desmond Ridder, quarterback out of Cincinnati, who was drafted by the Atlanta Falcons in the 3rd round. Other than the Steelers' Kenny Pickett, no one has a faster track to becoming a starter in this league than Desmond Ridder. In fact, the more you talk to folks about this guy, and if there truly is a quarterback competition, the more you start to hear about Ridder. I'm not sure if at the moment he is better than the starter, Marcus Mariota, the GOAT. They signed in former Raider and Titan, but you can expect at some point to see Desmond, as it's only a matter of time before the horrible play and or injuries sideline Mariota and open the door for him to get the starting job, him being Desmond Ridder. On to the other quarterback on my list. The final quarterback on my list, I have Matt Corral, a quarterback from Ole Miss, drafted by the Carolina Panthers. When evaluating a particular passer such as Corral, there are strict criteria in which I follow when evaluating. What does the surrounding talent look like? What about play calling? And is it tailored to what Matt's good at? Is there even a path to becoming a starter in Carolina for him? In front of him are Philip Walker, former Temple quarterback, an undrafted free agent of 2017, and of course the starter Sam Darnold. Last year was the first 3 games anyway. He looked like a wizard, the best passer in the league, honestly, but that didn't age well. In 11 games, he went 4-7 as a starter, completing 58% of his throws, 2,527 yards, 9 tugs, and 13 picks. Ouch. And received the look from teammate wide receiver Robbie Anderson that was made famous all over social media. Corral will be a starter by midseason, and I'm predicting that. That is it for quarterbacks, correct? Yep, I said Howell, Ridder, and Matt Corral. And now we're on to the running backs. In my eyes, this position has changed gradually since I started watching as a toddler, then ended up playing as a youth in a 2-season starting gig in the early 2000s when attending Belle Chase Academy High School in my hometown of Belle Chase, Louisiana. It's exclusively a supply and demand basis, with there being a plethora of options, from young and already proven halfbacks to other prospects in a particular class. It is hard for teams to accurately target one worthy of first-round draft talent, with the exception of rare workhorses like the 2021 first-rounder of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Najee Harris, Alabama Crimson Tide. There is none quite like Najee, honestly. There is one standout from a prolific season who has the most featured back characteristics, followed by the usual line of complimentary committee type backs. And depending on what type of a team what type of back a team is looking for. There is value galore with guys getting drafted in, let's say, the 7th round, who are damn near locks to make the team and will have opportunities to produce. We start with Kenneth Walker III, a halfback out of Michigan State, and was drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. Nothing wrong with Walker going after Breece Hall. I'm actually cool with the idea. What I'm not cool with is the fact that this is how do I describe it? A very shaky pick for the Seahawks, who already have highly questionable first-rounder Rashad Penny, who took so long to get it going in the NFL, and Chris Carson, who, when healthy, can really be a bright light for this team on a dark day. That being said, both backs have major durability concerns in between this pick and offensive lineman Charles Cross, which they've selected in the first round. Seahawks are trying to return to their power run-heavy offense, minus Russell Wilson. Next halfback up, I got Rachaad White out of Arizona State. He goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Very speedy, shifty kind of runner. 2 seasons were his collegiate career, including rushing for 1,000 yards exactly, 15 tuds as a senior, including 43 catches, 456 yards, and a touchdown. And this was his only 11 games worth of action. Bucs brought back playoff Leonard Fournette, and former Bengal Giovanni Bernard, and also still have Keyshawn Vaughn in the mix. But they added White and have swing depth for either power or receiving situations with this specific player, which I think is a great move. Third halfback on my list is Notre Dame's Kylan Williams. He was drafted by the LA Rams. Very quiet as a freshman, but the last 2 seasons at Notre Dame were very, very busy. He is an asset in the passing game as well, with 78 catches, 678 yards, and 4 touchdowns to his name. He has great hands, and he is very quick and has lots of moves that make you miss in the open field. And in those tight spots, because of his size and quickness, he's able to get out of those sticky situations rather quickly. Finishing his career with the Fighting Irish, the underclassman tallied up 2,153 yards on 419 rushes, averaging a hair over 5 yards a carry and 27 rushing touchdowns. I see his playing time increasing if he stays healthy, and he might even be good enough to compete for the starting job out there in Los Angeles. Now on to the wide receivers. Let's talk about the very first one taken this year, but yeah, he's not in the 5 that I listed. It's just a little extra piece. USC, let's talk about the very first one taken, Drake London. A lot of good wideouts in this draft class. Guys that can blow past you in the blink of an eye. Big body ones that excel at the contested catch, or those who like to run short curl routes and show the quarterback your numbers. Boom, make the catch. Months back, I did my top 10 list, and for the first time in my life, I thought, with all this talent at wide receiver, maybe I should do like a top 20. Something like that. But like normal, I was distracted by a shiny object and ran the other way. And the focus was lost. Not anymore. The first wide receiver selected in the 2022 NFL Draft by Atlanta at the number 8 overall pick was Drake London from USC. Now, what meets the eye of the average NFL fan is his size. USC is one of the top 30 schools in the nation, ranked 27th actually. And most of our viewers that are around my age know how good of a football team they were. With all those talented first-round picks in the early 2000s, a few were busts, let's just be real. But now Atlanta did need help at wide receiver. Calvin Ridley suspended for the entire 2022 season for betting on NFL games. Russell Gage is gone. Julio Jones been gone. And I just can't see where it made sense for them to bypass Ohio State's Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. Arkansas's Trelon Burks. Like, why? Bama's Jameson Williams, ACL, and front office guy Terry Fontenot and head coach Arthur Smith are intrigued by his size, speed combo, and maybe the fact that he is an absolute nightmare when it comes to contested catch. It's probably why they grabbed him here. Or maybe they got addicted to the then rookie tight end Kyle Pitts catch radius and thought this guy is kind of the same build and can do the same thing. Drake will be a good pro. Pro Bowl type of receiver once he develops and gets on. He and Kyle Pitts will benefit highly from the positive development and maturation of rookie quarterback Desmond Ridder. Or they could also tank this year and grab one of the better passers in next year's draft. Next wide out, so the first wide out actually, besides that, because that guy was default, Chris Olave out of Ohio State went to the New Orleans Saints. And I quote, "The Saints were aggressive with their move from 16 to 11 to grab Olave. Wilson, his college teammate, went the pick before him, so it seems like the panic started to settle once this happened because they knew that they were able to still get their guy. This guy's literally lightning. Top end speed, short area burst, killer change of direction, and acceleration skills are something you look forward to as well with this guy. Speed and quickness are his game, and in 4 seasons as a Buckeye, he caught 175 passes for 2,702 yards, 15.4 a catch, and 35 touchdowns. He is exactly what the Saints were and still look for to this day." Next wideout, Jameson Williams out of Alabama, taken by the Detroit Lions. The Lions made sure they got one of the top 3 wideouts in the draft and traded intra-divisionally like a fucking idiot. Now, given this year's class, it's ultra deep, and they still get knocked for giving up considerable haul of picks to the Vikings. Fucking idiots. And also not even giving the quarterback position a look at all was ill-conceived as well. A thing that works out is Detroit can afford to be patient with this development, even though he has proven enough in college, and an ACL recovery is something he's going through as well. With his consistent big play ability, a quarterback is needed and another solid piece on the line like they did last year by snatching offensive tackle Penei Sewell. Next wideout, John Dotson from Penn State, who was drafted by the Washington Commanders. Commanders took a very circuitous route to get their deep play wide receiver to complement scary Terry McLaurin. Knowing that the newly signed signal caller Carson Wentz operates best when having a player like him on the outside, I feel like this pick was kind of forced. Because they stayed put and didn't move up for Olave or Williams, and they had draft capital and picks to do so. His deep speed and quickness are an element that was missing from coordinator Scott Turner's offense that has since returned. Christian Watson from NDSU, the wideout that was drafted by my Packers. Okay, non-bias here as much as I fucking possibly can because I'm a Packers fan, but here we go. Christian shot up everyone's draft boards with an amazing display at the draft combine of athleticism, speed, and soft hands. He has the size you look for in a wide receiver, and his lateral quickness is off the charts, as well as his 6'4", 208-pound frame. He was going to be Rodgers' go-to guy on the outside and eventually round out as a do-it-all wide receiver, playing in the slot as well. Wanderlei Robinson from Kentucky was drafted by the Giants is my next one here, and that will even out the offensive players for the NFC All-Rookie team. This is what you call a constant matchup nightmare. Wanderlei has speed and quickness and jukes, and they're all here, everything. Kind of what they were expecting last season when they drafted Florida's Kadarius Toney, who had injuries and wasn't quite developed or consistent like they thought he would. Anyway, this is a guy who is a fucking playmaker out of the slot with nasty ability to make most people miss and the elite top-end speed to finish the job as well. They need to surround Daniel Jones, who's in a contract year, with dangerously talented playmakers, i.e. what they drafted Toney for last year, in order to ensure Daniel Jones' success and development and that he might be able to come back and play for the Giants next year. On to the defensive rookies, and again, I'm doing it in a 4-3 base system. Aiden Hutchinson, defensive end out of Michigan, and he was drafted by the Lions at number 2. This guy doesn't have to go far from Ann Arbor, Michigan to Detroit. It's exactly a 43-minute drive. Anyways, Lions fans should be thrilled about this guy. He's a cornerstone to build your defense around and is literally under the same system that he ran at Michigan. Defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, former NFL cornerback for the Houston Texans, plans to run this defense and knows all too well that the guy is perfect for what he likes to do defensively. Aiden is very strong, relentless, and a guy, once he finds his rhythm, is going to be dominant in this league for years. Kayvon Thibodeau goes on the other side of the defensive end spot. He's an edge rusher out of Oregon, drafted by the Giants. team was tired of taking the drafts. They were tied. The Giants at first were tied to taking the draft's best offensive tackle, which would have been Evan Neal or Akeem Ekwonu, for some time. However, they had a glaring need to put someone on the edge to wreak fucking havoc in opposing offenses' backfields. Giants GM Joe Schoen could have waited and tapped into position depth at a later time, but Kayvon's immense ceiling for a franchise that values freakishly athletic pass rushers was difficult to not take after the Jets passed him up. Defensive tackle now for drafted by Philly out of Georgia, Jordan Davis. Some say the Eagles had the best draft this offseason. Or just said the best offseason altogether. I think I agree to a certain extent. Not much was given up in draft capital to move up here and ensure that the Ravens couldn't snipe them for Jordan Davis themselves. The Eagles were in the money for defensive line reinforcements with Howie Roseman, team's vice president and GM, saying that they needed a powerful run stopper to complement the 31-year-old Fletcher Cox. He gained attention at the combine with his 40-yard dash. He shot up everyone's boards with the occasional talent of being able to fool the interior offensive lineman to get a quick sack. Great pick here by Philly, and I like him on this rookie team. Interchangeable defensive tackle, defensive end package. Georgia's Devontae Wyatt was taken by the Packers. This is one of our 2 first-round picks this year. Surprisingly, Arizona, who lost their top pass rusher in free agency, didn't grab him, and we needed someone with talent inside besides for Kenny Clark. Another thing that's great is we already drafted his college teammate Quay. This helps us with him being that ferocious pass rusher that we need in our 3-man front. The guy's explosive and will get to the quarterback early and often. Something I'm excited about. Another Packer drafted by Georgia, Quay Walker. We're talking about him and getting into the linebackers now. A questionable pick here for my team. I gotta be real. As they were handcuffed by the major wide receiver run within the first 18 picks. We kind of couldn't do anything. We need some pop at the linebacker position aside from Devondre Campbell, but I think we might have reached big time here. Honestly, we passed up on an elite wide receiver or didn't use one of our 2 first-rounders to move up and grab one. I also think that there were better defenders at this position, i.e. Philly's Nakobe Dean, Devin Lloyd from Utah. We also could have grabbed edge rusher Jermaine Johnson. Like, what the fuck? Out of Florida State for starters. But hey, I'm a fan, not an NFL exec. Another linebacker, Troy Anderson out of Montana, taken by the Atlanta Falcons. He was drafted very high, very, very high. But I like him. He brings smarts and toughness to a defense that just let a good pass rushing linebacker in Foyesade Olokun, if I'm not butchering that, go in free agency. Troy is literally a plug-in and play guy. He can literally start day 1. Brian Asamoah, linebacker out of Oklahoma, goes to the Minnesota Vikings, and here's what I have to say. An attractive pick here, and the speed and quickness for the position is outrageous. Outrageous. Like, I don't think I've seen a linebacker with this speed since maybe Tampa Bay's Devin White. It has to be consistent, though, and that's why I think he slipped out of the first-round talent. Let's see what his talents, though, can bring in the NFL. And now on to the secondary. We're starting with Lewis Sine, a safety out of Georgia, taken by the Vikings with the last pick of the first round. Last pick of the first round, yes, it's another Georgia standout. Actually, 5 of them went in the first round. That's fucking crazy. And it's why I said this defense was the best ever to be assembled in 2021, and this guy was a huge reason why. Vikings get a very formidable hitter here to line up next to veteran Harrison Smith, who also showed he was able to make a lot more plays in coverage as well, something that I think Lewis Sine is going to show us at the professional level. For the team moving down 20, count them, 20 fucking spots if it was newly signed general manager Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. His very first pick as a GM. Lewis is a fine talent that fits a need that this team has, and it matched the value completely. The other safety I had, he's from the Bears, drafted out of Penn State, Jaquan Brisker. They drafted cornerback Kyler Gordon from the Washington Huskies earlier in the round, Trent McDuffie's college teammate. Trent McDuffie was a top corner in the first round. He's a hybrid guy that can also play safety. Taking Brisker here was a huge indication to me that their secondary will feature a lot more 3 safety looks. And given the fact that Eddie Jackson and DeAndre Houston Carson are pretty productive, although Eddie is starting to taper off and fall down. Bears went best available defensive player here, and Jaquan is adept at making big plays all over the field. On to the corners now. I got 2 of those, 2 safeties. Alontae Taylor, a corner from Tennessee, drafted by the Saints. Saints joined the Lions in the 2nd round as the teams that most likely reached a bit with their selections. Though he loves to help in the slot, Dennis Allen knows that his strengths for defense are relying on the perimeter corners and the safety. Taylor offers great size and fluidity in zone coverage, and I think he will come into his own as in man coverage eventually. Cordell Slaughter, corner out of LSU, was taken by the Giants. The Giants did not address this problem earlier in the draft when they had a chance, and they were great names, right in their face, and they kind of just blew past them. With this selection being what I'd call a depth pick, it looks as though they will keep James Bradbury specifically for this reason, because Cordell Slaughter is not that developed coming out of school. Slaughter is a developmental size speed project who has lots of raw abilities, but can one day be a star in this league. That is it for the defense. Let's go special teams really quickly. I got a kicker and punter for you guys, and then this is done. Jonathan Garibay, a kicker from Texas Tech. He was drafted by the Cowboys. Is this guy an upgrade to Greg Z? This guy took many different paths for the journey to becoming one of the top kickers in the 2022 NFL Draft. He went from Santa Ana to Michigan, if I'm pronouncing that right, and then ultimately he was a Red Raider at Texas Tech. He had a great year, though. Listen to this. He earned all Big 12 honors, and he missed just 2 kicks all year. An extra point and 1 field goal. He was perfect on all kicks under 50 yards, though. These stats shouldn't fool you into thinking that his game breaks down after 50 yards. He hit a 62-yarder that ranked as the 3rd longest ever in college football history. That kick was the longest ever made in the final minute of an FBS game. That ever. And the punter, Cameron the Kicker Dicker. Love this guy already. Out of Texas, and drafted by the Rams. This guy would be my number 2 punter behind the punt god, Matt Ariza. We talked about him when I got into the AFC rookies. He even assumed punting duties as well, but he might be most known for his kick as a freshman. During that Red River rivalry game, they won the contest as time expired, and that year connected on 86.7% of his kicks. He earned a selection this year as one of the nation's best punters. Crazy, right? Also earning all Big 12 honors, averaging 46.8 yards per punt, downing 11 of his 47 attempts inside the 20-yard line. A career-high 77-yard punt should be enough proof that he has the right to continue this sort of thing into the NFL. And that's it for the NFC Way Too Early All-Rookie team. Please let me know how I did with that, and I will return on your feedback. So please let me know. Anybody that you think was missing from this list, add them in the comment section, and we'll talk about that as well. The Lone Western Mass Sports competition was Boys Lacrosse Division II championship game, and our Long Meadow Lancers won 9-8 over Bill Ricca. Congratulations. Now on to NHL Stanley Cup Finals. Game 3, Tampa Bay 6, Colorado 2. Colorado still leads the series 2-1. Game 4 is upcoming tomorrow night. That's it for NHL. We'll talk MLB now. We have the Mets over the Marlins 6-0. Pittsburgh over Chicago 12-1. Boston over Detroit 5-2. The Yankees over Tampa Bay 4-2. Atlanta over San Fran 2-1. Milwaukee over St. Louis 2-0. Chicago White Sox over Toronto 8-7. Kansas City over the LA Angels 6-2. And San Diego over Arizona Diamondbacks 4-1. Now on to the WNBA Minute. Chicago Sky staged largest comeback last night in WNBA history, erasing a 28-point deficit. Too bad the Atlanta Falcons couldn't do that for the Patriots. To beat the WNBA's league-leading Las Vegas Aces 104-95. 34 assists were also tied for 3rd most in WNBA history in a single game. My girl Courtney Vandersloot chipped in with 25 points, 8 assists, and Allie Quigley dropped a 13-piece with 7 more assists. The great Candace Parker had a double-double at 17 points, 10 rebounds, and Chicago lost to the Indiana Fever on Sunday, 89-87, so they were 10-5 on the year. The Aces of Las Vegas came into the game with a 13-2 mark, and these teams will face each other in a little less than a month on July 26th for the Commissioner's Cup. Tomorrow night's WNBA WNBA action. 6-10 New York Liberty face the 12-5 Connecticut Sun at 7 p.m. Don't want to miss that game. And that is it for episode 378 of 4-3 Sports Talk. This is Tuesday. I'm Raheem Escalay. 49 subscribers on YouTube, and we thank you for your continued support of the show. We are on Facebook trying to grow, trying to put the spotlight on the Western Mass student athlete and everything sports that happens out here in the birthplace of basketball. Shout out to the 413 Elite, Charles Evans, Lamar Cook, and company over there. DJ Why Not, I think, or I forgot his name. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank right now. Willie Cuffey, sorry to the government out there. Was a part of that crew as well. We want to shout out the 413 Elite. We definitely want to shout them out. It's our basketball team. ABA, and that ball's coming. Make sure you guys, if you got the skills, the basketball skills, the ABA Combine is July 23rd and July 24th. So look for that, please. If you got the skills, you want to try to make some bread for your family, you want to have fun playing basketball, this is something that I would try to do if I were you. Love you all. Wishing nothing but health, health, and success. And we'll see you tomorrow with Wednesday's episode 379 and our interview with Quinn Cawley and Jael Cabrera, both Holyoke Purple Knights. Love you all. Wishing nothing but health, health, and success. Again, this was over a half hour's worth of episode. If you watched it to the end, please inbox me for something that I have for you. Bye. Have a good one.